Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast on the Bet Rivers Network. It's brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. We're on the Mike Francesa channel, on the Bet Rivers Network, on YouTube, as we are once a week during the summer with a live program. I've told you throughout this process that once we get past Labor Day, once we get into our NFL schedule, we will be bringing you live programs regularly. So this is what it will look like. We'll add a few other wrinkles, and away we will go. Now, here we are on this 4th of July Eve as everyone gets ready to celebrate. And it's amazing that, there are a few holidays, Thanksgiving would be one, that everybody participates in like they do 4th of July. I don't know anybody who doesn't celebrate the 4th of July. I mean, everyone speaks of the 4th of July. Everyone tells you have a nice 4th of July. So it really is the premier holiday of this time of year. And I would say probably, other than Thanksgiving, it's probably the most universally received and participated holiday in our country. So it's always a very big day, as it will be tomorrow. I saw the travel numbers are just unbelievable. I didn't realize that many people would travel on the 4th of July, but it's amazing, staggering. And although it's early, we already have a hurricane ready to cause some disruptions if that continues on its path, because the winds on this hurricane, and it's a little early for a hurricane, but the winds 155 miles an hour are already devastating as it gets ready to set its sights on Jamaica. So we wish the people down there well, because they're going to need it. When you get to the 4th of July, you think baseball. We are about 12 days from the All-Star break. And the All-Star break comes almost after 100 games. The teams are anywhere between 96 and 100 games played. Most of them are around 96, 98 games played. So we're way past the halfway point, and you got an idea of where teams stand. The Yankees continue to limp towards the All-Star break. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. It doesn't matter what the quality of opponent is, as the Reds came into Yankee Stadium last night and won. The Yankees just aren't very good right now. And when you consider that on a day-in, day-out basis, they are putting forth a MVP performer in Soto, who is having an MVP season. And then behind him, you have Judge, who is having a otherworldly season. I mean, he's having a Mantle 56 Ruthian type of season. That's how good it is. You have these guys performing on this level as the 1 and 2 offensive players in baseball, and they still can't win. And they continue to lose consistently because two things have happened. Number one, the lineup has collapsed around them with the Stanton injury. And you could say the Rizzo injury, but really the Stanton injury, because Stanton was providing protection. He was hitting home runs. He has 18 home runs. He has 45 RBIs, which goes well with guys who have 80 and 60 RBIs, respectively. I mean, 83 and 61 if you want exact numbers. The problem for the Yankees is twofold. One, the lineup around them has completely dissolved. And two, their pitching, which was so good early in the season, really pitching over its head without Cole and getting some brilliant performances, has come back to earth with a thud. I mean, they just can't get out of their own way with their pitching staff. And add that up, and you have a lot of losses. And that's what the Yankees have had over the last 3 weeks. They continue to lose series. They continue to lose games. They haven't been able to get out of their own way, as a matter of fact. When you look at a couple of things, Soto and Judge have 32 and 20 homers. Stanton has 18. You go to the next guy, it's Verdugo with 9, and Verdugo hasn't been the same since he crashed into the wall in Fenway. You have both guys hitting well. Then you fall off all the way to Volpe with a 250 batting average. Both guys are at the top of the league. They're 1-2 in on base percentage. The next player is Volpe at 31%. And there's only two other Yankees over 30% on base percentage. So when you look at these numbers, they get staggering right away. Verdugo has slipped. Volpe has slipped. You don't have Rizzo. You're getting nothing out of LeMahieu. It's a bad year for Torres. Add all that up, and there's not a lot of offense with Stanton and Rizzo out of the lineup. The Yankees right now, as they take a good look at themselves before the break, and this week is okay. Next week is tough. They go to play Tampa, which is playing better. They're now over 500 after beating the Royals last night. They're over 500, and then they close with 3 at Baltimore. Baltimore's already 2 ahead in the loss column. Baltimore's beaten them 5 out of 7 times, and the way their pitching shapes up right now, Baltimore might whack them around. Last time they saw Baltimore, Baltimore was scoring runs like it was a football game. You look at the pitching. Heel has allowed 16 runs in his last 3 starts. Dan's allowed 20 runs in his last 3 starts. These guys have come crashing to earth. You got a lot of unknowns in the bullpen. Holmes is not I've told you this from day one, he's not a top-level closer. So the Yankees can go out. They have people in the farm system. They can go out and make a deal. They can go out and get a frontline reliever. They can go out and get themselves a starting pitcher. But so can everybody else. And so can Baltimore. And don't dismiss something I told you a month ago, and that was that Houston was going to be in the mix here. And Houston continues to play really well. They came in and even beat the Mets, who continue on their hot path. But they even came in and beat the Mets when they came in here over the weekend. And right now, if you look at the wild card, Houston is over 500 and only 2.5 games behind the wild card. Now, that's nothing for them. This team came from nowhere. They were buried at the start of the season. They were in last place, and there was a long distance to see them. Now they're back. Now they're in a position where they're going to be an issue the rest of the way. And you know what? They might still even win their division. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. They're only 2 games behind Seattle now in the loss column. So I wouldn't be surprised they win their division. They're definitely going to the playoffs. And despite Cleveland's and Baltimore's ability, Houston might very well, by the time they get there, be the team to beat. They have a good bullpen. They're going to get healthier in the starting pitching. They got plenty of players who know their way around big games, and they got plenty of players in that lineup. It could easily be back in the World Series this year. And I think they're definitely going to be back in the playoffs. As for the Yankees, hey, they're still 21 games over 500. They're playing 620 baseball, but it's shrinking as we speak. They continue to lose, which they have now for basically 3 weeks. They can't generate anything. Win a game, lose a game. Win a game, lose a series. Lose 2 out of 3, lose 2 out of 3, lose 2 out of 3. That's what they've been. They've given up a ton of runs. And if you dare pitch to Judge, he's killing everybody. If you pitch to Soto in big spots, he's going to kill you. I wouldn't pitch to either one of them unless I had to. And will it get better when they get stand back? Yes, because he offers some protection. But you also know that you can get him out in a big spot. He can wreck you with a home run. We know that. We know how hard he hits the ball, and he does have good numbers this year. But you can get him out in a big spot. They need Verdugo to get back going. They need Volpe to get back on track. They need Torres to pick it up. I mean, that's the bottom line. They need that in the worst way because they can't go out and rebuild a team. I mean, they're losing when they are getting incredible performances day in and day out. I mean, every game, those guys have numbers. Every game. They have numbers. And from that standpoint, you know you're going to get their production. I mean, they've been in the lineup every day. They lead the league in everything. Judge leads the league in everything. If he doesn't lead it, Soto does. They've had incredible years. Judge's year is off the charts. I mean, his OPS is 1.158. I mean, he leads the league in almost every category. It's remarkable. But if you look at the numbers on the other guys, they have shrunk. And, I mean, Verdugo's 10 for his last 60 with one home run. Volpe's cooled off. He's not doing the things he was doing at the plate earlier in the season. All right? He's hitting 200 for his last 30 games. He's hitting 190 for his last 15 games. I mean, he'll pick it back up, but the point is they need some consistency from these guys. They can't go out and fill a team. They can go out and get a bat. And they might have to go out and get a corner infielder who can play either position or somebody who can help him in that regard. I don't see a lot of life in LeMahieu. I don't count on Rizzo the way I used to. You're going to get Stanton back. That's a positive. I think playing Grisham doesn't hurt, except you got to put Judge at DH then. Unless you're going to put Judge in the left field and then start giving Verdugo some days off. That'd be the only other answer. So from that standpoint, I don't see a lot of answers in the lineup. I don't see them doing a lot of things except hoping that their guys do a little more. And it's not unrealistic to think Verdugo will get hot again, Volpe will get hot again, Torres will get going. It's not crazy. Rizzo could have a good month. So they can live with that. The problem's the pitching. And they need to go out and get an arm. They need to go out and bolster the bullpen. I think the most likely thing they're going to do and add something that's of premium value is going to be somebody in the late innings. That's more logical than anything else. And they should get a good run out of Cole. That should be, I think, a given. Stroman, I think, will give them enough professionalism. He'll give up some home runs. He'll be vulnerable at Yankee Stadium, but he'll win his games. They need the other guys to get back on track. They need Heel to go from where he was the best pitcher in the league for the first 11 starts, to at least getting back to where he can get people out, where he can give you 5 or 6 good innings. Now, remember, he's never pitched a lot of innings in a year, so you don't know how durable he's going to be and how efficient he's going to be down the stretch as he piles up innings. So if I had told you on June 1st the Yankees were going to have all these problems, you wouldn't have believed it. If I told you on June 1st what they would look like on July 3rd, you wouldn't have believed it because they hadn't had a blip in the entire season. Everything was going along swimmingly. You had Judge healthy and playing on an all-world level. You had Soto playing on an all-world level. You had guys contributing, and you had pitchers pitching like all-stars. And now that is all crashed and burned. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly how they close out this time before the All-Star break, especially next week at Tampa and then in Baltimore to close the last 3 days of the season, of the regular season before the All-Star break. That's a week from Sunday. They'll close the All-Star. They'll head to the All-Star break. Now, the story on the Mets side is much more positive. We talked about the fact the Mets were going to play 14 games before the break against losing teams. They're already 2-0. They've beaten Washington a couple of tight games, but Can they continue to do this? Can they continue to provide this kind of offense? Because let's be honest, their pitching's not any good and they're doing this. Their bullpen's been awful and they can continue to overcome it. Their bullpen gives up runs and runs and runs and they continue to overcome it. Why are they overcoming it? Well, look at these numbers. Last 15 games, Alvarez, 392. Last 15 games, Nimmo, 397, 20 RBIs, 21 runs scored, 6 homers. Vientos, 300, 5 homers, 11 RBIs last 15 games. Alonso, 322, 4 homers, 16 RBIs last 15 games. Lindor, 333, 5 homers, 16 runs scored last 15 games. Martinez, 296. Iglesias, 387. Go down the line. Look at what these guys are hitting. Other guys hitting 280. Nobody except McNeil is struggling. Nobody. They got everybody hitting 380, 390, 320, 330, 6 homers, 5 homers, 4 homers, 6 homers, 5 homers, 4 homers. It's crazy. Now, what's a hot streak? What's real? Martinez is real. He's a real bat. He is a pro. He's a proven commodity. Lindor, Alonso, proven commodities. Alvarez, the real thing offensively. I don't think there's any question. Power to the opposite field. Very good with 2 strikes. And that's the quality of a hitter, is when you see a guy who's comfortable. When a guy can hit with 2 strikes, he's a hitter. Guys who can hit with 2, and a lot of guys can't hit with 2 strikes. When you can hit with 2 strikes, you are a real hitter. There's not a lot of ways to get a guy out who can hit with 2 strikes. And he does. And Nimmo's become, his power. Has he given up a little bit of his batting average for the power? Yes. But he's hitting the ball out of the ballpark with regularity. So is Vientos. Vientos is powerful. Nimmo's surprising how much the ball is just jumping off his bat. You know, and Alonso and Lindor snuck up on you. They haven't been great this year. They had tough starts. Their overall numbers aren't great, but you know what? They've been okay lately. They're doing their job. That's what it comes down to. They're doing their job. You know, Lindor got off to such a bad start. People were destroying him, and rightly so. I mean, his year was just outrageously bad. But you look now at the numbers, and obviously he has taken to the leadoff spot. He has really flourished in the leadoff spot. But, I mean, here he is now. He's got 14 homers from 40 RBIs. His OPS is up to 760. All of a sudden, he's going to hit 25 home runs and knock in 90 runs. Is that a bad year for a shortstop? I understand he makes a lot of money, but still, I mean, that's a pretty good year. You know, he hits a lot of doubles. I think he leads the majors in doubles, or he's second. I think he already has over 25 doubles. 25 doubles, 14 homers. 56 runs scored. Plays every day. Hasn't played a great shortstop, but he plays a good shortstop. Last night was the exception. He didn't play well last night. Let a couple balls play him. Guys beat out balls they shouldn't have beat out. He made an error on a ball where he just kind of flipped it out of his glove. He's usually very sure-handed. And you know one thing about him and Alonso? They play every darn day. So this Met team, despite not having Diaz, despite Senga not stepping on the field this year, are now 42 and 41. They have 12 games left against Washington, Pittsburgh, Washington, and Colorado. They can win a lot of these games and set themselves up for the second half here. When you look at it from a wild card standpoint, You know what? They're right there. They're a game out of the wild card. Right now, today, Atlanta, St. Louis, San Diego. San Diego's 3 over 500. St. Louis is 4 over 500. The Mets are a game over 500. They are one game out of the wild card, and they are the first team out of the wild card. They have jumped the Giants, Arizona, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Washington. There had to be some separation. You are starting to get a little separation. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Washington, Chicago, they're falling off the pace. So all of a sudden, yes, the Giants are there. Yes, Arizona's on the periphery, but you're getting some separation there, which is what you want. You're getting the separation there you want. And that's the positive. If you're looking at this season now from a Mets standpoint, they're played past the halfway point. They've played 83 games. They have 12 more games to play before the All-Star break. Winnable games. 2 more at Washington, including an 11:30 game tomorrow morning. 4 in Pittsburgh, because they're playing there Monday. They're playing a wraparound series, so they're playing 4 there. They come home, they play Washington. They come home, play a very bad Colorado team. They have a chance to have a very good 10, 12 days. And if they can put themselves another 2 or 3 games over 500, where they've put the 500 mark behind them, you know, they did something that it looked like when they were 11 games under 500, it looked like it was going to take them months to get back to 500 if they got there at all. They did it very quickly because they had a super June. And they have started off July the right way with wins in both days. And they're doing it despite the fact they're not pitching worth a damn. You got a 9-3 lead. They got the tying run on base, the winning run at the plate against Washington. They continue to play extra inning games. They continue to come up with rallies like crazy. And if you make a mistake, they come barging through the door. You make a mistake in the field, give them an extra out, they'll put 3 runs up. They have done that, and they're bunching their hits together, which is the sign of a team that's playing good offensive baseball. When you are doing that, you're bunching hits together. Not just one hot guy. If you look at those numbers I gave it, everybody's hot. And it's been that way. They were number 1 in the league in scoring in June. They had one of the best months that they ever had in their history in June offensively. Ever. That's how good they were. They had a spectacular month offensively, and they continue it despite the fact they're not pitching worth a darn. Which is amazing what they've been able to do. So it's obvious what you're looking at. They don't need to go out and get offensive players. Now, could they deal off somebody? Yeah, but I don't think they want to. I wouldn't even deal off McNeil, who's having a terrible year. Even with Iglesias doing what he's doing. Keep that platoon because McNeil's going to get better. They've gotten a lot out of Bader. Their bench guys have done well. Their backup catchers hit. Taylor's hit. They're getting it from just about everywhere. Martinez is providing the leadership that he's supposed to. Lindor has really flourished in the leadoff spot. We know what Alonso's capable of. You add it all up, and it's all right there, so it's about the pitching. I don't know if they're going to get Senga back at all this year. Now, getting Senga back would be like trading for a star. If they could get Senga for August and September, and I'm not saying they're getting them back, because the news last time we heard was not good. But if they could, that's like going out and getting yourself an ace. I don't know if they're going to get anything out of him. They can't fix this bullpen without Diaz being Diaz. And I don't know if Diaz is going to be Diaz at any point this year. I would say probably not, but we'll let it unfold. But he still gives you a guy you're going to give the ball to. Go out and get a guy that can set up for Diaz. And then you go out and get somebody who can give you 5 innings. Just give you, that's all anybody wants out of this. I mean, it's become a joke. It really is, the way they treat starting pitchers now. They don't even try to get guys wins anymore. You can watch a guy pitch now, and he could have a 5-run lead in the 5th inning, and they'll take him out with 4 2/3. They don't care. They don't pay any attention to wins anymore. No one, wins is not even a category anymore for pitchers. It's unbelievable. And let's be honest, unless you're talking about an ace, your pitcher is basically going 5 innings. He's not seeing the lineup the 3rd time around. It's just not. I mean, the game has changed so radically in that regard. And the shuttling of your bullpen has become, so much a part of your daily business. I mean, there's just no way around it. And that's exactly what it is. Now, do they have a guy who's giving them some durability? Yeah. Severino's been, he's been good. He's logged almost 100 innings. He goes out there and gives you, he gives you starts. He goes out there and pitches. His last 3 starts, he's gone into he's either pitched 6 or into the 7th or pitched the 7th in each of his starts. He's pitched the 7th at least 4 times this year, maybe more. Not too many guys go 7 innings anymore. So he's gone out there and done a job. So he really has. You can't look at the wins and say he's got 5 wins. It doesn't matter. That's just the way it is now. Wins are almost an aside. But he's been very good. They need a starting pitcher. But more important for them, the way they play is to keep shuffling arms, but have a guy that can set up for Diaz that you can trust. They trust Garrett. He's been good. He hasn't been great, but he's been good. Can they get another guy that can set up, who they can trust? Maybe they have him. Maybe they'll get him. We'll see. That would be an aid for them. But they're going to go as far as that lineup takes them, and right now it's taking them a long, long way. It's remarkable what they've done offensively. It really is. Now, I've told you about, as you move into July, deep into this baseball season, the Bet Rivers MLB midweek same game parlay profit boost, okay? It's a nice tag. It's a little long. Same game parlay profit boost. Here's how it works. You can add, and everyone, listen, these same game parlays have become the rage. I would say most of the wagering done by people on these sites is same game parlays. You guys love these same game parlays. There's no question. And because there's value in them. Now, add value to the midweek MLB slate with a Bet Rivers midweek same game parlay profit boost. Each Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, log into the Bet Rivers app and claim your profit boost. Then apply it to the same game parlay of odds of plus 100 or longer. Each leg must be minus 200 or longer odds, which means you're not going to make it all these, incredibly chalky things. Point is, most of these same game parlays, like the ones I gave you in basketball, they were usually anywhere from plus 500 to plus 900. And a bunch of them hit. But if you do that, depending on your loyalty level, and you can look that up where it is based on how often you bet and how much you bet, you'll get a boost of at least 25% and as much as 100%. Visit the Bet Rivers app for full details and get your midweek same game parlay boost. Now, you can download the app and get ready for the football season. If baseball's not your game, maybe golf is, maybe tennis is. A lot of people wager on tennis, which I'm surprised. I didn't realize so many did, but I've been told that they do. Golf is a good betting game because the odds, as long as you're not betting the Scheffler, are tremendous. I mean, really, if you think, hey, this guy's going to, and you don't have to just say, oh, it's hard to pick the winner. You can get good, you can get 7 to 10 on 7 to 1 or 10 to 1 on a guy to finish in the top 10. You think it's his week. And here's the one thing I would tell you about golf wagering. It's just has the same attribute in this regard as horse racing does. Horses for courses. Just like there's horses that love Saratoga. And as Saratoga gets ready to open, when a horse likes Saratoga, bet him. When that horse is 4 for 6 lifetime at Saratoga and his form looks pretty decent, bet him. He's going to run really well at Saratoga. Some horses love certain surfaces. Some horses love certain conditions, and they love certain tracks. The horses that like Saratoga love it. And they run there. Like Casa Creed, a horse that's, had so many big days at Saratoga. He loves Saratoga. He doesn't like the Kentucky tracks that much. But he loves Saratoga. And that's why he's won stake after stake after stake in Saratoga. He just loves it there. He just seems to train better. He just seems to have a little bounce in it. He just loves it there. And a lot of horses are that way. Same thing with golfers. When they like a course, when they have a history on a course, when they do well on a course, they will do well on that course. It fits their swing, it fits their temperament, it fits their game. It just works out. So always go back and look and find a guy who has done really well or done a lot better than he normally does on that certain course. Expect the same thing. And you have the British Open coming up. Now, this year, Scheffler's kind of, beat up on the opposition. We'll see how he does as he takes on the world in a couple of weeks at the British Open, which is not my favorite major. Sometimes it's hard to get going with the British Open, but the game's so different and everything. But it's still usually quality golf, and that's coming up around the corner. So whatever it is that you're looking for future odds on college football, you're looking for over-unders in football, not too early to look at those. I watched the Giants on Hard Knocks last night. I hadn't realized, I hadn't paid attention to the Giants on Hard Knocks. And I saw the first one last night, and it was kind of ho-hum because they didn't really have any real action. They were just talking about, all-star games and, scouting and a lot of the general manager and stuff like that. But, it'll be interesting to see the Giants look at that because the Giants have been very private in that regard, and now they are in this hard knock preseason thing. So I saw the opening episode last night. From a standpoint of those episodes, it was probably bland, but again, it was about really February and March, which is kind of hard to do. Now, one thing I want to get to, and that's the Knicks. Did I think they would keep Isaiah Hartenstein? I did not. Did I think he'd get almost $30 million a year? No, but the money's gotten crazy. Look how quickly it got. The money's gotten nuts in basketball. You can't knock him for going out and getting the money and getting his payday. He earned that payday with his play. He's a big loss, though. Do not discount the loss he is. He fit like a glove. He really did, both ways. His ability to block a shot, his ability to hit that little floater in the lane, his ability to make the right pass, his ability to get that loose ball and get that offensive rebound and restart the. I mean, he was wonderful last year. He fit them so well. Replacing him is going to be very hard. Probably means Robinson stays. I think that's a given now. Plus, they have to add another big. Now, Tibbs is going to want a guy who can be a rim protector. He's going to want a guy who can rebound. He's going to want a guy who plays defense. You know that. There's a lot of debate about Randle. And I even saw where a couple executives said, hey, Knicks should keep Randle. I could not disagree more vehemently. I think from both an economic standpoint, Knicks aren't going to give him another contract. From an economic standpoint, from what it will mean to what financial freedom it gives them, to, more importantly, the chemistry on the floor. I can't stress this enough. If you're going to play what you consider a small lineup and play Randle to 5, which you can do against certain teams, or his minutes, he's going to get whatever your lineup is with him playing 4 and then having, a big in the game. I don't think he fits. This is not to attack him. This is not to knock him. I'm not getting into a debate about what kind of player he is. All I'm talking about is what has made them what they are right now. Chemistry, cohesion, having pieces that fit. Hart took them to one level. OG took them to another level. Bridges will take them to another level if the pieces fit around them and don't detract from what they do. This team works the way it is set up now. Brunson leads. Brunson offensively leads in a big way. Any shot he wants is his. Any shot he takes on any trip is fine. That is how they went to play after Randle went down. And he morphed into a different level player, into a top 10 player. Some would say it's top 5 player. Well, let's just be realistic and say top 10 player. I don't think they will have the chemistry they need with Randle pulling down major minutes. And I'm not trying to make it about him, but what I'm trying to say is you want this to, the biggest strength they have is their versatility and their chemistry. Their versatility to guard multiple positions, the effort players they have, and the cohesion that they have, the chemistry that they have. You can have chemistry and you can add to that chemistry by adding a player. You can add to that chemistry by subtracting a player. In this case, that's what I'm talking about. I don't think the way you look at this with Bridges and OG and Brunson and Hart and Dante. It doesn't fit. Case closed. And I don't understand those who say he does. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't know if they can make the trade they want to make. They might even be reluctant to trade him. I don't know what their mindset is. They've done things right so far, but the right move is to move him, which will provide financial flexibility, but just or more as importantly, will provide an increased level of cohesion and unity on that floor. I don't think it will ever work the way it's supposed to work and the way it can work if Randall's here. In my world, he has to go. Can't play it, can't say it any more bluntly. He has to go. And if he doesn't, I think it will detract from who they are. Enjoy the 4th. Be safe. We'll talk to you soon.